Hey everybody, welcome back. We're starting off today in the fab trailer. Yesterday was a beautiful day. Got up to about 60 degrees, which is very uncommon. So I took the advantage of the day and I sandblasted the entire welding table. I wanted to get all the mill scale off it. I had it flipped upside down, did the underside, and I got some black epoxy primer on everything underneath. I'm leaving the top here and the sides just raw, so I get a good ground. Finally getting a chance to lay on long straight edge on here. This table is absolutely flat. All the care that I took in getting the underside structure in there really paid off. It is flat, front to back, side to side, diagonally. I'd be easy to jig stuff off the table here. So I've got a little more welding to do. I'm going to do these seams on the corners fully, and then I'm just going to put a few more stitch welds. We'll just TIG some stitch welds in there down the sides. But it's in here. It's not in place yet. It was everything I had to do to get it sandblasted, primed, flipped over, and between the tractor and the rollback truck I was able to get it in here with some hand winches and stuff. But right where it's sitting right now is where I ended the day yesterday, and I'm going to leave it here for now, maybe till I get a little bit of help. And it's got to come in forward a little bit more, and I got to get it in the position I want it so I can move all around it. But this is an extremely heavy table, and I want to get it in place, and I want to adjust the feet, and I want to get it, fairly level. I'm not going for, like I'm setting up a lathe or anything, but I want to get it fairly level in the trailer and get things move around and set up in here a little better. It's a little messy in here, but we'll get after that. So just wanted to show you guys the completed table. It's 14 feet long, it's 40 inches wide, and I'll be able to get just about any frame that I'm going to do on there. So there she is, finished up. Hey guys, we're back in the shop. It's a windy, cold, raw day out there today, but nice and warm in the shop. Here's a shot of a 12 counterweight Jeep 258 crankshaft. And if you've been following along, I've been looking for one of these. And normally I just call up my engine warehouse and they have them in stock. For some reason these 12 counterweight ones are getting hard to find. I don't understand why, but can't put my fingers on one. This one has a thrust area severely worn. This is not usable. But that's what a 12 counterweight one looks like. I thought I had one from a crankshaft company. They said it was 12. They sent me a 4. So I am looking for one of these. If anybody has one, it doesn't need to be ground. I could send it out and have it ground from my crank guy. But I'm looking for one of those, or an entire AMC Jeep 258 pre 1981. So it would have to be an 80 or earlier. I'm having terrible luck finding one. A few, I guess you'd call them Jeep parts dealers, are absolutely insane with the prices they want for completely junk motors. Some local guys wanted, one guy wanted $12.50 for a 200,000 mile worn out terrible 258. Another guy wanted $1,000, and I don't know if I'm just out of touch with reality or what's going on, but if anybody out there has a 258 that doesn't think it's worth $1 million, I'd be happy to talk with you about that. I had super good luck. Let's go over to the other bench. I had super good luck when I was out there looking for a T18 Kelly from Colorado and Lee from Pennsylvania. This is stuff from Colorado. Input shaft, retainer, adapter, bell housing. Kelly was super fast in shipping that out, and was happy to see somebody use it. And a T18 and a transfer case and flywheel and bell housing is coming from Lee. I can't thank both of you guys enough. That's getting picked up from Pennsylvania this afternoon. And just starting some work on the head. I'm not going too far on this. I really want to find a crank, so I know I got that done. Or, like I say, a whole early engine. I know they're out there, and I know there's some sitting in garages and stuff that guys just aren't going to use. I'd be happy to work with you on that. So, anybody out there that's got a 258 with the 12 counterweight crank, I would like to hear from you. And we'll get back on that head. But in the meantime, I've got to get this GM Vortec V6 4.3 disassembled and get the crank sent out, because this is in line to be rebuilt. And if you look at this side, looks fairly normal, clean, looks like it's been getting oiled very well. Come over to this side. This side is really sludged up. I don't think it was getting oiled properly. So it's like two different engines here. So I got suspicions of what's going on, but we'll tear it apart and I will show you what's happening with this. This is going to be a fairly stock rebuild on this. And I'm putting a 465 behind it with a Dana 18, and this will probably go into a CJ3B that I have plans for. But right now I want to get this apart, get the heads off, flip it over, and get the crank out, so at least I can get that in the works. So that's what's going on engine wise. Like I say, I'm stuck on that 258. We're going to move ahead a little bit on this V6. A lot of guys have been asking me to do a V6 because it's a very popular Jeep swap. It fits real good in pickups and wagons, the early stuff. Wonderful in CJs because it's so short. It's a very good option if you want to repower something. This is perfect, and basically it's like a Chevy V8 with 2 cylinders chopped off. Bell housing from the 465 will bolt right up to that. I have the 168 tooth flywheel that's going to go on there. I'll probably put an 11-inch clutch on there. Everything will just work out easily on the back of the V6s. Oops. We are going to get a new, let me get through here. We are going to get a new cover. You see on those it says replace assembly upon removal. Those plastic ones are junk. Get a new steel one on there. I don't know what I'm going to do with the pan. I might try and get another pan. I don't really like that aluminum one. Maybe once it's cleaned up I'll like it a little better, but probably get a pan for that. But we're going to move ahead and get this disassembled, and we'll see what that oiling problem looks like. Okay guys, we're moving along with the disassembly of the Vortec V6. That's the cam retainer plate, and they use those Torx head bolts in there, and they are miserable to get out on these V6s. We've got the heads off, we've got the pan off, timing gears are off, and I'm going to try and set up and show you how I get those Torx bolts out of there. See if I can get you in there. Hang in there while I focus in. Okay. I got the one side out. You can see that. That came out tough. This is the tool I use to get out things like this. This one's made by Snap-on. And this is just something you smack with a hammer, and it'll either loosen or tighten. So we'll put that in there, we'll smack it, we'll turn that to the left, loosen, and we smack it. It'll give that bit a twist. On the Torx bolts, if you put it in there and you try an impact gun or a wrench, they easily want to slip out of there. So this, trying to see if you can see that okay. It's a heavy made tool, and like I say, you just twist it the direction you want to go, hold it, smack it with a hammer, and it really shocks, pushes the bit in there, and allows it to loosen it. This is the best way I like to do it. There's a little something that I think you should always have in a toolbox. Just hit it a few times. See, I want to jump out even with that. I think we moved it. Just keep turning it the direction you want to go. Oops, that tightened it. You got to keep turning it to the left. Smack it, turn it, smack it, and turn it. Okay, we got that one on the run. So we'll just switch over to a ratchet. If I can get that bit off there. Sometimes they get stuck on there from the impact, but that's a tool that gets me out of trouble a lot of times. And this particular area on a V6, on the GM V6, is tough. We'll upgrade the bolts here. We need a countersink bolt, but those Torx ones, I don't care for those. So we'll upgrade that. It had a little bit of thread locker from the factory, and you could take a tiny bit of heat and put it in there. I haven't had as good a luck with the heat as I had with that tool. So just a little tip if you guys are taking apart the V6s or any engine or any tricky nut or bolt, whatever you could adapt onto that tool, that'll help you get it out without damaging it. So, cam retainer plate is off, and we're just going to continue on taking this guy apart. Okay guys, we got the complete V6 apart. I did find in some of our oil galleys, they were a little plugged up with sludge. But that was not the reason that head looked so bad. When I took the pistons out, I'll try and get one over here. All the pistons on this particular side, for some reason, the oil control ring was doing nothing. It's jammed in there tight. There's no expansion on it. It's not hitting the cylinder wall. We were losing a lot of oil on the right bank, and was causing a sludge up in the head there. The engine came apart real nice, and it's pretty clean. The bores are straight and right on the money. I may be able to get away with just honing these. I'm going to get the bore gauge out and check them for sure. But in the few places I measured, right on the money. And the bearings, the main bearings, the rod bearings, they all look pretty good. So let's head over and take a look at the crank. I measured this up, and here's the crank. I measured this up. Everything is perfectly in tolerance. And again, I might not send this one out for grinding. I may just polish this one. It is in remarkable condition. I did not expect that when I took this engine apart, but it is in remarkable condition. Everything is nice. The journals are still perfectly round, and very happy with the crankshaft. The engine, I think if it wasn't using so much oil, would have been continuing to run good. This came out of, like I said, a 2001 Chevy Silverado pickup, 1500 series. And it was running good, but you could get a little misfire there. There was every now and again you'd foul out plugs and stuff. And that's just because we were just losing oil real bad. The rings went bad, and that caused this engine to not be a good, reliable running engine. So we'll probably change the pistons, rings. Haven't gotten into the heads yet. We'll do some. Let's head back over there. We'll do some head work on these. I don't know. When I take them apart, we'll know better. But we'll get some new rockers. I'll check the cam out a little closer. We might put a little mild cam in here. New roller lifters and roller rockers. And we'll disassemble the heads another day. Balance shaft looks good. We'll just change the bearing on that. We'll put a new oil pump in there. We'll put a new timing set in there. We'll put a steel timing cover on there. Not sure what I'm going to do with the pan. Still trying to work that out. Figure out what I'm doing there. Switching this over to a V-belt. Here's everything off a Chevrolet V8. So switching this to a V-belt. We'll put an intake manifold on this. We'll put a small 4-barrel carburetor on here, and I don't care so much for the fuel injection. So we're just going to make this a carbureted, very basic. You know, basically a wire to power up the distributor and one wire alternator on there. Very basic setup. I don't want computers or fuel injection or anything on this engine. I just want a very basic carbureted engine. So that's what we're going to turn this guy into. It's ready right now for a good thorough washing, and that's what's going to happen next. And I'll show you where we go after that. I'll get everything measured carefully, and we'll make a decision if we're boring or just honing, and then we'll start getting parts. And I think we do a pretty thorough but quick rebuild on this guy. So if you like it and you want to see more on the V6, just let me know. And that's all I have for you this time. So as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.